Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Hartford Whalers series here in NHL 22. And yeah, last episode we did start year 1, but EA, we lost our save file for the first time in this franchise mode already, so we have to restart the season simulation, which is very unfortunate. It basically, what happened is it popped up with this error message. I'll show you guys a screenshot in this video, but it popped up with this error message that I couldn't load my file. So I was like, might as well just close the game, reopen it, and so I reopened it, and the save file completely, just disappeared. So we're gonna have to restart the season simulation. So I probably will sim the entire season in this video just to kind of catch us back up to where we were. So it might be a little bit of a long episode, considering we might make trades and stuff like that. But in general, we have to resimulate the entire season, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. And yeah, hopefully we don't have any more problems along the way, because like I said, we don't have a lot of time in this franchise mode to begin with, so losing save files is something I don't want to have happen. But I do want to mention a couple comments I got in the last episode anyways, like the first one from Rebecca Weiss-Woods, which says, "You won't need to upgrade your backup goalies. Next season you have 2 kids that could step in depending on how they perform. That's when Burke might be shoved out." So when we get to like the trade deadline, I don't think we're going to be upgrading our goaltending situation for the backup role at all, even though Jason MUZZATTI normally doesn't simulate that well, because we do have guys like Legacy and Jagger at least in the system that could come up at some point. But yeah, that's basically that. Also, Nick was mentioning about trading away Emerson and stuff like that. So there is a chance that we could trade away somebody like Nelson Emerson at the trade deadline if he's not performing too well, or even Kevin Dineen for that example, just because both those guys are signed for a couple of years. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see how this team simulates again for the second time before we actually come up with some trade suggestions and stuff like that. But I think I'm going to simulate the entire season in this episode just to catch us back up. So that means, yeah, trades and stuff like that as well. But yeah, hopefully this team kind of simulates similarly to what they were doing in the last episode, because if not, then this is going to be kind of annoying. How if we're a really good playoff team and stuff like that, I'm not going to like that at all, because I want this team to kind of simulate more accurately to real life and all that stuff. So yeah, once again, sucks that we lost the save file, but for right now, let's actually create a couple, or actually one extra save file. Create a new file. Hopefully this doesn't erase any of my Arizona stuff, because or else I will be pissed off about that too. But we'll create a new file just so that way we maybe have a better chance at actually saving the season simulation. So let's simulate and get this done with. We'll simulate 41 games still, so up to the halfway point where we stopped the last episode. But then we will probably end up going to simulate the rest of the season. Just it depends on how fast this simulates. It'll probably simulate quite quickly, considering I'm on a next gen console. But yeah, I'm really pissed off I lost that save file. I know it's happened to a lot of other people that have been playing NHL 22 as well. Like Tugi's lost a couple save files in franchise mode. I know Sin has. And I think that was probably one of the first ones I lost. Actually, no, it's not, because I did lose one of my first ones in Houston as well, if I'm not mistaken. So I've lost a couple save files in franchise mode this year. But yeah, really annoyed that it had to happen so early into the series, because like I said, if we end up losing a bunch of save files, then we're not going to get too far into this franchise mode, right? Like, I already feel like we're only going to have like 20 episodes before the series ends, so. But kind of off to a 500-ish start. I feel like we're simulating a little bit better than we were in last episode, which is unfortunate, because I don't want to be a playoff team necessarily. But I mean, if we make it to the playoffs, so be it. Maybe we'll win a Stanley Cup in year 1. Just be a cheese team. I am kind of mad about that. You guys probably would be a little bit mad about that too. I don't know if you guys have lost save files as well. I think a few of you have mentioned to me on Twitter at least that you've lost save files for franchise modes before. But yeah, every single day it seems like this game claims another victim. Hopefully they have that cleared up for NHL 23, because or else that's going to be pretty annoying, especially if we start up another like Draft of Glory or something like that. So, but yeah, this team is definitely doing a lot better than they were in prior episodes, and we're not running into injury troubles actually, so that maybe that's why, because last time around Sean Burke got injured, but this time we're starting off 19-15-2 on the season, which has us in a playoff spot by a good margin, which is not great. I didn't want to be a playoff team necessarily, but if we actually end up being a playoff team, I guess it has to happen. So maybe that's why I lost my save files. The game is just like, hey, you need to be in the playoffs. So We have a few more games before we're at the halfway point of the season. I'm going to try and make this episode not super long on you guys if we actually are a playoff team. So let's get these 5 games done so we're at the exact halfway point of the year. And we'll take an updated look at player stats and team stats and stuff like that, just to see what type of moves we might need to make if we need to make any. Okay, so yeah, this team's probably going to be a playoff team at this rate. 22, 16, and 3. I'd say, yeah, we must be a really good defensive team because we don't have any guys point per game wise right now. Like, Sanderson's on pace only for 58 points this year, which is not a lot. 47 points has us, yeah, probably one of the best teams in the league right now. Let's take a look at the standings and player stats so far halfway through the season. And then we'll probably simulate up to the trade deadline and maybe make some trades. I don't really know. Actually, maybe I might not simulate. Actually, I think I'll simulate to a day before the deadline. And then that way you guys could set me up for some trades. And the next episode will be trade deadline. And it'll also be season simulation. So I know it's a little bit of a weird one to have 3 season simulation episodes. But it's because of losing that file. So I just don't want to simulate too much. And I do want your guys' feedback on stuff. So yeah, we'll definitely stop a day before the deadline and take a look at what's available. So actually, let's do that instead of looking at player stats and stuff right now, because that stuff doesn't matter too much. Let's go to a day before the deadline, and that's where we're going to stop this season simulation so far. So we will go all the way up to here till March 19th. Damn, that's a pretty late trade deadline. March 20th. Actually, never mind, it's not too late. There's still like a month left after that. Okay, yeah, we'll go to March 19th. See how we simulate the rest of the way, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe this team will still fall off. And there is our first injury. Keith PRIMEAU has been injured with a concussion out till January 19th, so it's not too long term, but sucks that it was one of our best younger players. Okay, we're sliding a few games after losing Keith PRIMEAU, which is not a surprise. Oh, they put in MALIK as a forward. Oh yeah, one of you guys were mentioning something about playing MALIK over Kevin Haller, so we should actually change that around instead and play MALIK there. So let's do that since MALIK is young and I want him to actually get development this year instead of being a scratch. And yeah, we'll put him on the top 6 with GRATTON just to make the chemistry a little bit better. Give MALIK the rest of the season just because Kevin Haller is not that important, as GRATTON has been injured now, so I guess Kevin Haller will get the play. So now we're getting slapped with the injury bug. And the New Jersey Devils have fired their head coach. That's really intriguing, because they should be a pretty good team, but I guess the division's just too strong or something. GRATTON is back. That's good news. I also should actually take a look if there's been any trades already this season, just because there could have been some trades. So let's stop the simulation for a second, because we're going way too quick into this episode. So let's take a look if there's been any trades so far at this point in the season, just so we don't miss anything huge. I don't think there was anything huge, or else we would have got notified. Yeah, there's been no trades so far, so maybe teams are waiting until the actual trade deadline itself to make some trades. I don't know. We are kind of sliding a little bit, though. We're actually almost out of a playoff spot, so we're kind of in a weird situation. We actually have the exact same amount of points as the Red Wings, which I don't know how that's possible. That's really weird. But yeah, let's continue to simulate up to the deadline. Let's actually go to February the 1st or whatever it is, March the 1st, I guess. Maybe that's February the 1st. Yeah, March the 1st we'll simulate up to, just so we can kind of see if there's been any more trades or any trades around the league before we get closer to the deadline. But I feel like most teams are probably going to wait till the actual deadline themselves, but who knows. There's a win over Philadelphia and a win over Sweden as well. Yeah, we might end up making the playoffs this year, which is unfortunate. Wow, Derek King is all of a sudden playing really well. 41 points in 54 games. So we're actually getting closer to point per game, but like still way under point per game. This is a very defensively minded league, it seems like, at this point. What was I going to check? Oh yeah, trades. See if there's any trades out there. Anything that will kind of make us be like, what the heck? Nope, no trades so far. There definitely will be some at the deadline, but so far, not any trades in the season, at least that have been brought up. Let's go to this game against Russia, because that's the day before the deadline, and that's where we'll stop the season simulation, take a look at our team stats, player stats, all that stuff again. And once again, I will apologize about losing that save file. I had no idea that was going to happen again. So Jeff O'Neill's now been injured, so another one of your younger guys with an injured hand till March the 12th, so we'll replace player. But that's it, a little bit of a big injury. I guess that's going to put in a defenseman on forward or something like that. So Jeff O'Neill is back, which is good. Who is... Oh, Kevin Haller. Kevin Haller needs to not be a forward. We can't play defenders as forwards. I could send Haller down to the minors if I wanted to, but we would need to have a depth option up here at all times, or else we're going to have to consistently do roster moves, right? So... But yeah, I think this team might end up making the playoffs. Which is, I mean, it's okay, I guess, because once we're in the playoffs, who knows what could happen. But I still don't feel like I've done enough to make this team a playoff team. 31-25, 5-1 a day before the deadline, so that's where we're going to stop the simulation. 62 games in. And yeah, we're at 67 points, which is only 3 points above the Sabres. So the Sabres actually have 2 games also in hand on us, so they could technically pass us in the standings. So that's kind of good in a sense, but at the same time, I have no idea what we should actually be doing, if we should be technically upgrading our team to being a good playoff team this season, or if we should try and like set this team, like get rid of a lot of the good players to make this team go back into a bit of a rebuild. But I don't think we want to do that necessarily, because we don't have a lot of time to win ourselves the Stanley Cup, and so we might have to just take the playoff chance and run with it. But let's take a look at the player stats and team stats for this season so far, and then we'll take a look at what's out there on the trading block, as well as if there's been any trades, which I don't think there has been yet. But let's go by each division, just because that's what I did in last episode technically before I lost my save file. So Pittsburgh's leading the Atlantic right now, with Montreal right behind them and us right behind them as well. So we're actually, this is a pretty tough division, it looks like. Ottawa's in the playoff spot also with 65 points, Buffalo outside with 64. And then the worst teams, obviously Boston's down there, Finland and Sweden down there, which is good because obviously those teams aren't real teams. We head over to the Central Division, where the St. Louis Blues lead the division. Dallas is out there. Czech Republic is in third. I don't know how. Hopefully Detroit could get back into that spot, because if Czech Republic makes the playoffs and then Detroit doesn't, I will be kind of pissed off about that. Phoenix is also up there. Chicago's up there. Toronto's the worst in that division by a long margin. Not a surprise, because they were pretty bad, I think, at this point in time. Because they're even simulating worse than Germany, which is kind of a surprise by a few points. Then we'll head over to the Metropolitan Division. Philadelphia leads the division, which is good. Obviously, they got into the Cup Finals that season. Rangers right behind them, though. Washington also up there. Florida up there in a playoff spot, which is good. Tampa's outside of a playoff spot. The Islanders, not a surprise. And then the Future Stars down there. And New Jersey is really terrible this season. I have no idea why, because they have Martin Brodeur. But yeah, New Jersey is really struggling. Their offense is the main problem. So they're a good defensive team like they were in real life, but they're not simulating that good offensively. So that's interesting. And in the Pacific Division, Anaheim is leading that division by a good margin. Colorado's up there in second, LA in third, which is kind of weird. Calgary is also in the playoff spot, and Vancouver at number 5. But Edmonton and San Jose are down there, and Russia in dead last. So it looks like a lot of the created teams are in last, which is good. Entire league standing wise, Philadelphia is the best team in the league right now, but the Rangers and Anaheim are both on their ass. We are 10th best in the NHL right now, which is kind of a surprise. Goals for per game wise, we are one of the worst offensive teams in the entire NHL, but we are in fact the second best defensive team in the NHL. So I guess Sean Burke's just having a really good year, but our offense is terrible this season. So that's something that we could upgrade if we want to make a push into the playoffs this season, is try and find somebody that could help bolster our offense a little bit. Power play percentage wise, it looks like we're actually not terrible in the power play. Yeah, our power play is pretty solid, so we're just not scoring 5 on 5. And our penalty kill is not that great, maybe. Yeah, it looks like, yeah, we're not a good penalty killing team really, but we're a good defensive team 5 on 5. We only have 1 short and a goal. A good home record, I'd say, and a 500-ish road record. Interesting. Let's take a look at those player stats so far as well. See who's been doing what. So, yeah, Andrew Cassels has been really quiet. So, Andrew Cassels has been really quiet. 39 points in 62 games. I mean, he's leading the center core in points at least, but in general, our team has just been really quiet offensively, so not going to complain there. Keith PRIMEAU, 33 points in 60 games. Obviously, he missed a couple due to injury. And Manderville's got 15 on that fourth line, which is not too bad. Left wing wise, Jeff Sanderson, 45 points is pretty good. 18 goals this year to lead the team, I'm pretty sure. That's not bad. Only a +2. Derek King's got 44 points, so these two have been probably our best players for sure. And then Kron's got 32 points, Rainheim 16, and Grimson only 4 points in 106 penalty minutes. So Stu Grimson doing what he would do, beat up people. He has 14 fights on the season, which is a little bit less than I expected, but I mean, at least he's still not putting up a lot of points like he should be. So kind of realistic there. Right wing wise, Kevin Dineen's got 38 points and a +3. Emerson's got 34 points +2. Jeff O'Neill's got 33 points in 61 games, which is pretty solid. -7 though. And Stephen Rice has got 24 points and a -8. So yeah, it looks like the bottom six is out there for a lot of goals against. Defensively, Steve Chason's still doing really well. 34 points in 62 games, +17. So he's been good. Glenn Wesley, 17 points at a +11. Kevin Haller, 10 points, -5 in 49 games. Not great. Looks like he's out of the lineup again, which is good, I think. Adam Burt has a -10 and only 8 points. Not really sold on Adam Burt, obviously. Godiniak's not been great, and same with Curtis Lecision. And American Malik's got 2 points in 19 games, but he is a +3, so not too bad from the youngster. He is jumped up to a 79, it looks like, already, so that is great news. And in goaltending-wise, yeah, Sean Burke has been a monster, and MUZZATTI is really simulating way better than he was when we started the season simulation last time. That's interesting. So Burke, 25, 18, and 0 with 3 shutouts and 921 save percentage at 242. And then you got MUZZATTI, who's 6, 7, and 1, but he's also got 2 shutouts, a 921 save percentage as well, and a 233. So the two of them have been fantastic so far this season. Really weird simulations. So yeah, we've definitely been more of a defensive team this season, but we do have a lot of minus players also on our roster, so I don't really know what to make of our team so far. Let's take a look at the entire league for fun as well. See, he was leading the NHL in points around this point in time. So Paul Kariya is leading the league in points right now with 82 points in 63 games. So him and Timo SELANNE are going off, not a surprise. Wayne Gretzky also up there. Pat LaFontaine, Trevor Linden, interesting. Lindros, Kristich, Oates, and Brett Hull also up there. Best goal scorer so far this season is Kariya, but LaFontaine also and Hull all have over 30 goals this season so far. And in Dezay, Lindros, Gretzky, Stumple, Martin Jelena, which is a little bit of a weird one, and Peter Bondra. But yeah, Kariya is going to finish over a point per game this season, which is realistic. Best player so far in terms of plus-minus on forward is Kariya. Most penalty minutes by a forward is Chris Gratton with almost 200 already on the season. Dale Hunter also up there, Rick Tocchet. Yeah, Washington's a very physical team. Most game-winning goals for fun, Saku Koivu so far. Power play goals, Wayne Gretzky. Most power play points so far is Ray Ferraro. Most shorthanded goals, Shane Corson. Shorthanded points, Fitzgerald and Corson. What else we got here for fun? Most hits so far, Travis Green with 168. Most blocked shots, Rob Niedermayer. Most giveaways, Pavel Datsyuk as a youngster. This is funny. But Yaroslav Bednar, Wayne PRIMEAU up there is the current NHLer. Takeaway wise, most takeaways is Adam Oates, but Mary Lemieux right behind him, which is interesting. So Oates and Lemieux would probably be up there for the Selke, it looks like, at this point. And most fights this season so far is Chris Gratton with 28. In terms of the defensive points, the best defenseman for points so far is Al MacInnis by a long shot. So I think Al MacInnis probably will have the Norris locked up unless Brian Leach could catch him. But that plus-minus is definitely way better. Zubov also up there in points. Chris Pronger, Phil Housley. The type of guys you would expect to be up there in points for defenders. Most goals by a defenseman so far is also Al MacInnis with that 14 goals. Schwela also up there, which is interesting. Scott Niedermayer. A couple guys over 10 goals, which is pretty good. Let's also take a look at like the most hits and stuff for defenders, because that seems like a fun thing to do. Chris Chelios has the most hits for a defenseman with 145. Most blocked shots is Pavel Kubina and Alexander Kavanov. Glenn Wesley's up there for us, which is cool. Most giveaways, Bob Bugner. Most takeaways by a defenseman is Scott Stevens. Wow. Scott Stevens almost has the exact same giveaways takeaway ratio, and Ray Bork has the exact same. Damn. So some defenders are actually taking away the puck quite a bit. Ray Bork also had 9 fights, which is a little bit weird, but oh well. Marty McSorley, 30 fights in the season. Jeez. So yeah, Marty McSorley is the most physical defenseman probably by far. No, he's not. Bob Bugner has more penalty minutes, but still, a lot of the physical defensemen in the league as well. And then goalie-wise so far, at this trade deadline, Patrick Wall leading with 30 wins on the year. Most shutouts this season is Belfour and Richter with both 8 shutouts. The best save percentage by a starter, probably Oli Kolzig, I guess, or Ed Belfour, both like a 928 and a 925. So this league is very defensively minded. A lot of goalies in the 920 save percentage range, which is interesting. Best goals against average by a starter, Kolzig with a 2.13. God damn. MUZZATTI is up there, but where the heck is... Sean Burke's all the way down here. So that 242 is a little bit higher than you'd expect. And rookie stats doesn't matter because this is kind of broken with a throwback franchise mode. But there is that so far. Let's take a look at what's out there on the trading block, and we'll see also if there's been any trades this season. And then I think that'll be probably it for this episode. I'll also show you guys the updated draft class again just to see if there's been any changes in terms of potentials. But let's take a look quickly at the trade deadline thing, if there's been any trades. No, there has not been. Okay, so I guess we'll find out if there's any trades at the actual deadline itself in the next episode. But let's take a quick look at what is out there in terms of the trading block. See if there's anything that we want to bolster offense with for a playoff run, or if there's anything, maybe if there's anything on our roster we could trade away to make our team worse and miss the playoffs, because we could technically choose our fate, I think, if we want to. So Harkins is on there, so that's more of a fourth liner, same with Sheldon Kennedy, and then also Tim Shovelday as goalies, Dean Chenoweth, and Jeff Odgers. So not really much there in Boston, to be honest, especially to bolster offensively. It wouldn't really help. Gary Suter's out there, that's not bad, 2 years at 1.6. Definitely would help our defensive core, but he does have a lot of value. And he's not really simply the most offensively minded, but he is a good defenseman, I'd say. Cam Russell and Enforcer, don't really need that, considering we already have Stu Grimson. We don't have all the enforcers on this roster. Roman Turek still is out there on the block. I was asking if you guys think we should trade for him before, but yeah, I don't think it makes sense like you guys were saying, because we do have Jaguar and Legacy in the minors. So, but Roman Turek has now got called up from the AHL, so that's good. I guess they must have sent down Arturs Urbe. So there's that. Detroit has got nothing. Luke Richardson's on the block. That's not bad for defensemen. Kevin Lowe as well. Kelly Buckberger. Bob Asenza. Hanyu Verta's out there for defenders. Two-way defender. He's similarly decently offensively, so he's not a bad one, but he is 33 years of age, so he's probably close to retirement. Sylvain Turgeon's on the block, same with Anderson, Intercheck, Sorella, and Hines. Not really anything huge there. I mean, unless Turgeon's really good. Turgeon's not bad in terms of offense. Yeah, actually he's been doing pretty well. 42.62 games. If we wanted to upgrade our offensive core, Sylvain Turgeon, who actually used to play with the Whalers, if I'm not mistaken, could be a solid pickup if we wanted to, but I don't know if he's an upgrade over anybody. Kevin Stevens is also up there. He would definitely help us out offensively, considering he has 21 goals a season. So yeah, Kevin Stevens might be an okay option, but LA is in a playoff spot, I think, so I don't know why they would be wanting to get rid of him. What else we got here? Jeff Reese, no thank you. LaPointe, Wood, Howda, more bottom six type of guys and top six defenders. Dane Kluche still out there. Nothing there. Nothing there either. Pat Jablonski, more of a third string goalie. Ken Reggett is on the block still. Kasatonov is on the block. That's not bad defensively, but he is okay offensively as well. Trefilov is on there as well. Nothing really there in San Jose. St. Louis, no. Sweden's got Yuri Sliger on the block. Yuri Sliger would be a good defensive upgrade, and he does pick up a decent amount of points as well, but he is physical. Interesting. Also, Magnus Arvidsson's out there. That's not a bad option for a third liner. He actually is picking up a good amount of points as well. Magnus Arvidsson might honestly be the best player out there for us, but he is putting up more points on the power plays, so if you get no power play time with us, I don't know if he'll simulate like that. But he apparently fits our fourth line, so that's good if we wanted to trade for him. Rob Zamener's out there. That's not bad. I don't know why it says he's on a two-way contract, because I don't think I made his contract two-way, which is kind of weird. But he does fit our top line. He is picking up a good amount of points, so Zamener might be another one of these good options to bring out there. 40 points, 60 games. Sean Burr's there, Paul Eisenberg as well. So there is players out there that could definitely help out our offensive core if we really want to have another run or have a first run in the playoffs. But if we want to take away this team's chance at making the playoffs, we could always do that as well. We could trade away somebody on our roster. So there is that. And I think that's pretty much it if I'm not mistaken. Let me go to the contract situation so you guys can see if we do want to trade away anybody, it'd probably be guys on expiring deals. So guys like Derek King. If we got rid of King, definitely this team should probably fall apart and miss the playoffs, but I feel like they still would make the playoffs somehow. Andrew CASSELS on 1 year. I'd like to keep him around. And yeah, he's going to be relatively cheapish. Still like a good top 6 forward. But Derek King might end up leaving the team this offseason, to be honest. So don't have a whole lot of contracts actually up for renewal, which is good. Legacy might be our backup next season, to be honest. But yeah, that's basically that. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Hartford Whalers franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll have the trade deadline, and you guys can let me know for some suggestions on trades, which direction we want to go. We'll simulate the rest of the season, and yeah, hopefully we can make these playoffs, or hopefully we could just tank and miss the rest of the playoffs, because we're kind of in that spot where we just could choose which direction we want to go in. So let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.